did they actually send it to the right person? I have thought about it twice. I was not even sure it was for me. Or if I am not going to consume it, I don't promote it. 1 month is good, 1 month is bad, and content creation is just like that. For us, it may be just content. For someone like them, it may be their whole life and their whole business. I've been following you. I like the way you communicate. You made me feel very positive. I've been seeing the city through your eyes.
The sponsor for this episode is a social media agency called Paperplay. Paperplay as a company understand your requirement, strategize your social media play, help you with the social media calendar, complete account management, and finally, analyze the analytics. So if you're an entrepreneur, reach out to Paperplay for your social media needs. More details in the description below.
Namaskara everyone. Does that sound familiar to you? Yes, it is what Jeevitha starts all her reels with. Today at Talk of Town podcast, we have the very famous social media influencer, Jeevitha. We take pride in inviting her. While brands are waiting to work with her, we have her as a guest on our podcast. So let's hear more from her. Hi, Jeevitha. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
So glad to be able to talk to you.
Same here. Thank you for hosting me.
Yes. So I think you are very famous in the influencers universe, and most brands recognize you and what you bring to the table. But honestly, I think everyone's curious to understand how this journey began.
True.
Where did it start and what made you come to this?
Sure. So when I started, I think none of us creators would have that mindset of starting with a thought that, oh, we'll be established someday. So for me, it went the same. I was actually working as a marketing manager for a hospitality brand. So I used to head content creation there and also look at social media marketing and other things. So always had I people liked my work in terms of the content and how like bought the whole narration and the view. So I thought, okay, let me experiment the same on my profile, because whenever I put stories, like my own, like I hardly had like 400 followers back then, and in that also my friends would ask, where is this place, what exactly, anta.
Okay.
So and as an individual, I loved exploring other things, not just food, like whatever is unique to my eyes, I would love to explore. And I bought the same into my profile, just started creating super organic content. I started it this way, like I used to do a lot of organic content, like whatever I personally did. Like say, I used to do a lot of Kabban Park picnics. So
Okay.
go with my pets and my sisters and my friends. So actually lay a mat and then get cute stuff, eat there and all of that. So it literally made a reel and put. And I saw that there's a lot of scope for my work, because I shot it, I edited it, and it was just me there, right?
Okay.
So I thought, okay, let me do this on a larger scale. And I started being consistent.
Okay.
I started with capturing cafes. So I am a morning person. I love coffees and I like to keep the vibe very positive. And I was not a very nightlife person. So I just focused on covering cafes, and that's how my journey started.
Wow.
And yeah, I think now there's a lot of diversification and
Yes.
growth there. Yeah.
I think, growing up also, like, I know how, parents would be like, study and then get a job and things like that. And until the marketing manager, I understand. But then, what was that one turning point that defined that, okay, like, I think this is a career and I'm going to stop my full time job and do this full time?
Okay. Now, this is a very tricky thing because for someone to figure out, you need to experiment. Because I actually did my fashion before that. Now, I had experimented enough in my life to understand where I would see myself happy. And I think creative space was very clear.
Okay.
Okay, I saw myself there and I chose marketing. I went forward and I did really well there. My work was great. And then slowly this happened. But then I never took this like completely full time. I'm still a marketing consultant. I work with brands. So this is going hand in hand. And every time a creator says, I'm going to take this full time, I would worry twice for them because it's very unstable.
Ah.
Because as a freelancer, anybody who's a freelancer will understand their payments are never on time, and the work is not like you have it throughout the month. It's just spread out. One month is good, one month is bad, and content creation is just like that. So I've just been balancing both, and yeah.
Superb. So, can you recollect that first big brand that approached, and then you you realized your brand value?
Oh yes, in fact, I think it was Mia by Tanishq.
Wow.
I think that was a big brand that I worked with, and it came from the Meta team. So initially, when I think 3 years ago, Meta had their own agency. I think they still have it. They used to identify creators whose page was really engaging, who had good reach, and they would pick city reps. So who had did well in that city, and they would give opportunities directly. So that's how I worked with Meta for different brands, and Rare Rabbit was one. Like it was in my very initial days, and when I got that offer, I was like, did they actually send it to the right person? I have thought about it twice. I was not even sure it was from Yanta. And then I don't even remember what quote I put because I didn't know how much to quote. And yeah, they came back with a surprise saying, why do you charge so less, Santa?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this had happened. I think Mia was the first man.
Superb. Now, approximately how many brands have you worked with? Do you have a count?
I really don't know. 1,000 plus for sure.
Superb, superb. So, can you take us through your process? Like, I know from a brand standpoint, they reach out to you and you get either say a yes or a no. But then from your standpoint, what is it that you do? What are some of the checks you do before you agree to do a project?
Yeah, and this is good that you asked me this question because a lot of the audience don't know. There's a assumption that whatever offers creators get,
Yes.
like actors, like whatever movies they get, they just agree to everything. No, it's not that way. If they are a creator, knowing like what they're actually doing, they're very organized and filtered that way. They know what to pick. So with me, when a brand approaches, I have a niche that I follow. Anything that caters to the premium audience is what I would like to pick. Now, say I would not like to talk about every restaurant in the city, but I have my own filters. Like, say, the ambience should look nice, it should cater to certain audience, there should be a specialty cuisine that they are serving, or in terms of hygiene, whatever. I have my own filters that I see and choose. Same thing happens with other brands, not just dining. In terms of fashion, lifestyle, a lot of things, I like to choose brands that are unique and who cater to selective audience than the mass. So I think that way I am different and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, because I think there's a general notion, like you rightly said, someone comes your way, even brands talk like that about influencers. Like you pay them the money, they're going to obviously take it and say nice things, right?
And it's very difficult to say no to the brand in the nicest way. Like I have explained, like I'm not even kidding, like say there are a lot of carbonated drink brands that approach and they pay a huge sum, like double of what you charge.
Okay.
And they don't even negotiate, they're okay to pay. So, and I like, if for me, one ethic that I follow is, if I am not going to consume it, I don't promote it.
Right.
So if I don't drink Pepsi, Coke, whatever, I don't drink it. So I never promote, never on my reel, not like however big the deal is, I don't promote. I mean, there are creators who take it up even when they don't consume it. I would like to differentiate. So there are good quality. I have seen a lot of good creators from my own city who know, what good brands are, what they're promoting, and what content they're feeding into, audience's head.
Right, right. So now, just as an influencer, like what is one of the best experiences you have had where you felt like a celebrity? Because honestly, I'll tell you, from when we look at reels, no, you all seem like celebrities to us because it looks really nice. And I have seen almost every reel of yours.
So
I mean, looks damn good. So can you recollect one such great experience where you were?
I think the happiest part about this industry is when people actually come and speak to you, like, oh my god, I see your content, and they express
Yeah.
like these little details. So for me, like, they say they love the way I say namaskara everyone, so they make me say it even when they meet me on the road. So I think that's very special. And apart from these, no, there are stories that I have encountered. Like, I get, this is a very different thing that I want to speak, because I don't know if it happens with other creators or not. I get mails about their personal lives. Like, recently, I got a mail saying she's been following me for 3 years now,
Okay.
and then she had cancer.
Okay.
And then she recently beats cancer, and she writes this mail saying that you have been, like, I make sure to interact with my audience a lot, because that keeps me happy as well, and they are also getting what they ask. And I have always had that communication, and I didn't know, like, a person like this had cancer, nothing, and no backdrop, no idea, nothing. And then I get a mail, like, literally like a few days ago, and then she says, I've been following you, I like the way you communicate, you made me feel very positive, I've been seeing the city through your eyes. I'm like, I'm just doing this as a career with a lot of passion, but I didn't know that it could relate to this extent and cure and make someone feel happy. I think that's very emotional, and yeah, I think it just goes beyond words that way.
Right, that's beautiful
Yes.
because we would undermine the power that social media
Yes.
has. And just through this medium, if you're able to touch somebody like that, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What about any brand story that you have where you didn't expect it and it turned out to be great?
Actually, so I've worked with a lot of small businesses. Like, again, it's not every time, it's not about payments. We have come here. I personally feel that, you should support brands, because there are a lot of genuinely good brands who are struggling, to reach audience. They're
Yeah.
not getting enough exposure. That way, I've worked with a lot of small businesses, and they have seen the reach, and they come back. And I have actually a lot of stories with restaurants. So there are small cafes that I have gone, I've spoken, and their food is genuinely good. Nobody has somehow, covered that place or thing. And then I made a reel, and it went really well for them. For us, it may be just content. For someone like them, it may be their
So
whole
big, yeah.
life and their whole business and income. So yeah, a lot of people have shared their experience of how they have, you know, uh, got such a big result unexpectedly.
Very nice,
Yeah.
very nice. And I think that you're able to make an impact is like the biggest success story
Yeah.
there is. Superb. So now, just coming to the business of social media itself, I believe that, like, we are all consumers of Instagram. Now, it's so finicky what goes viral versus what's consumed, what's liked. Like, there is one thing that's liked last month and there's something else now. And even content creators are, maybe you try to follow some pattern and then suddenly it isn't that. So, how does it work from an influencer standpoint? Like, does it also vary or it depends totally on the person who's influencing? I don't know. Is that trend and liking and disliking of the netizens, as they call,
Yeah.
does that impact your content creation?
I would, to one extent, yes, because from the time I started till now, there's a lot of difference. Like, say, your food
Yeah.
industry only. People just loved eating desserts outside, food outside. No, it's no more the same. Now, people are looking to eat something that's more curated, more exclusive.
Yeah.
And that way, a lot of trends have changed. So, you need to update and upgrade accordingly. But in terms of content style,
when you have your own style, like say I am just stuck to my style and I have not really experimented that way. So people like that style and they follow you for that. So you need not worry that way.
Mm.
But people who follow a lot of trending content and create different trends, I think they should be up with their all these looking at the trends, finding out and then recreating them. But I think for my niche it does not really make an effect, but you should be really consistent and yeah, you should upgrade. That I agree with that.
Right, right. And in terms of what you cover, what are some of your specialties? If you can just tell our listeners. So I know cafes and restaurants is a big part, but other than that, what else do you promote?
So, I would like to call myself as a lifestyle influencer, and I love creating content for different niches, not just dining. Now, say your could be your staycations, and I'm very picky with the staycations I do. It should either be completely experience based, where you go there for their curated list of experiences. Could be nature, could be adventure, water, whatever it is. Otherwise, it should be about luxury and how you get spoiled there with their amenities and yeah, basically luxury. So staycation is one, and fashion is another brand. I love to speak about labels that are from my city, in fact my country, I would say.
Right.
And if you have noticed, I like 99%, 95%, yeah, if you've noticed, 95% of my wardrobe would be sustainable. I prefer
Yes.
wearing natural fibers, and I love speaking about them, and that makes me really happy. So that is one, and yeah, mostly it.
Nice. Now, um, I just want to sort of ask you, what is your prediction in terms of where is this influencer thing going further, right? Because today you see so many people coming into this.
True.
You have, especially in lifestyle, I would say lifestyle and specifically food and
Yes.
fashion has a lot of influencers. And most of them have decent following and decent engagement. Now, where is this headed, especially for someone who's wanting to become an influencer?
It's actually a scary question because, yeah, like you said, there are so many influencers. Every single day, there's a new influencer. But at the same time, the happiest thing is that when you actually look for good creators, there are very few. Like you have bunch of creators, but good creators are very few. You can just pick them in your hand count. So that way, I think it makes a lot of difference. Someone who is coming into the industry should understand like how quality matters and not come here to earn or build numbers. So, and I think it's going to get more personalized. Like, say, now the content is going to get more because there's a lot of competition,
Yeah.
and how new and updated you are makes a lot of difference. So I think it's going to get more personal, like now how Meta has introduced broadcast. It's going to get that personal, literally, like you need to communicate with your own audience directly to keep up that relationship. I've also seen a lot of creators have WhatsApp groups
Yeah.
where they update, could be like their content, their personal life, but they have a group that they communicate with regularly. So I think it's gonna get more personalized that way. And yeah, and the other side of it is a lot of creators are building their own brands. Like like if they're a fashion influencer, they're going forward and bringing their own label, and if they're food, they're gonna start their own cafe, things like that. But I think building a business when they are in their shine time is very important to them, because you can like just not rely on one source of income because it's very unstable.
Right. So that brings me to, about earning itself. Now, how much does an average influencer make, and what is it like as you enter? How do you define your rates while you're
Okay.
working with brands?
Okay. Again, a lot. Some creators know how to charge. Some creators don't know. They end up charging like over the price, or some people undercharge. So, like anybody who is very particular with the brands they work and not just
promote everything and anything, very who like prioritize quality brands, and who are in, like, say, lifestyle niche, and uh, about 100K followers can easily earn about 4 lakhs, 4 to 5 lakhs on a good month. And but that's what filtering makes the most amount of difference. I mean, if it's not going to fetch you a lot of money in the initial days, it will definitely do it in the longest term. Good brands would like to associate, because it's the brand value end of the day, and they like to associate with people who actually keep up that brand value and they're a brand themselves.
Right.
Yeah, so that way. And while quoting, again, a lot of people just quote on the basis of the followers they have
Yeah.
and the views that they get. The other side of content creation is that a lot of creators boost their posts. Now, for any brand, they should understand, what organic content is from different from how boosted
Yes.
content works. Because for this, I have literally fought with many brands, because when the content fails, according to me, it fails, that's all. I would put extra effort to maybe promote it in different way. Like, say, I do a reel for a brand, restaurant example, it does not do well. So when I'm doing a listicle or when I'm doing a story, I would like to talk about it when it's genuinely good. So that way I put an extra effort. But this at this period, what has happened is, if the content fails, brands ask creators to put money and boost the video, which, yeah, which makes no sense. And this happens with most of the agencies, because they want to show numbers to the brand. And as brand owners, they need to understand only organic views and organic engagement can get you income and conversions, and not anything that's boosted, because they're going to just do it for the sake of getting circled views,
Right.
right? So that way you should really differentiate with the creator that you want to work. And because there are very few in these days, like, I see very few creators who are stuck to doing organic content and not boosting it. So yeah, it's difficult.
So, is there a way that brands can find out whether that content, because see, honestly, when brands want to engage with influencers, they're going to check how the engagement has been. Is there a way to know that this has been boosted versus this has not been, and it's organic?
Yes, definitely. There are few things you can check while working with creators. One, please check with the shares. Shares is the last thing that you can buy. They say that you can, but I don't think you can buy shares.
Yeah.
So with that engagement perspective, you can see a lot of different people commenting on the post, and just ask them to send a screenshot of their insights. You will know everything. If it is boosted, it appears as ads. Maybe if the brand takes permission and then boosts it, behalf of them, it's a different thing. Because you can,
Yeah.
if their majority of the content is boosted, you can see the percentage in their insights itself.
Hmm.
So that way you can understand if they're doing justice or not.
So it's fair for brands to ask for screenshots, you're saying?
Yes, there are brands who look for organic, like, say, for example, dining is one category that works only on organic content.
Yeah.
So if you want to create content and if you keep boosting it, it does not work. Like, they should believe the creator who's promoting the place. Like, say, I am going to talk about a cafe today. They should trust me to go to that cafe, right? So you always associate with people like that, and
Yes.
not people who just do content and then boost it for the sake of showing the number of views. So because at the end of the day, you're not going to get walk-ins. You wanted that, right? And
Finally, it's that.
yeah, it's that.
Yeah,
And then people don't get that. So I would literally mark this to the brand owners. Please be careful while you're picking influencers.
So when you pick it, so it's fair to ask for screenshots, right?
It is definitely. But there are also big brands who are not worried about
Yeah.
the engagement.
Yeah.
They're looking at views. So for someone like that who's not worried and have big, like, say, there are a lot of FMCG brands with huge budgets, they don't even care how much the views are, because it's mostly the agencies who are handling it and they just want to show numbers. So I think for them it works. And I think it should be transparent. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
If you're boosting it, let the brand know that it's not an organic content.
And if you are, please inform it. Don't be like, I have got the best views and then boost it later and the brand finds out. It's not going to get you work on a longer term.
Right, right. And just move, sort of talking about the industry itself, are there newer categories that you see will do better? Because I don't know, somehow I feel everything's saturated from a consumer standpoint. So where do you see this influencer category working better? Are there newer areas? Are there different things that people can think about?
Yes, there are definitely a lot of niches that are not even explored. Now, say for Bangalore, this one particular niche of ethnic wear for women, like only jewelry and ethnic wear, promoting labels that are like, say, boutiques from the city, could be designers from the city. That niche nobody has tapped. There are a lot of niches if you actually take time to find, but categories like food, dining, fast fashion, um yeah, I think these are like overdone
Yeah.
niches. Like you see 100 creators that, so anybody who wants to be a creator, please come up with something new. And uh, when they choose you, it should be for your work. They should never substitute with someone else because they didn't get that creator. They should never like be like, okay, I'll take you because I want an influencer.
Yeah.
It should be like, I want Jeevitha, so I want to work with her. It's not because I want to work with an influencer. Okay, some influencer works. It should never be like that.
I'm again like curious to understand, like, as an influencer, say you work with X brand. Now it may work or may not work, right? So do you have a metric to understand what was the impact that your work had on that brand?
Yeah, I think for me that's very easy because till date, if I'm getting some work, it's because of brands. Brands do well, they're getting conversions, they refer me to someone else. And you can literally talk to brands who have worked with me and understand how the reach has been. So I think that way I genuinely put a lot of effort because I want to do justice for the amount they're paying for me. And if it's a really good brand, I would love to push it from my end. Like I mentioned, now one reel does not do well, I make sure to give them enough shout out in the coming days so that they are getting enough coverage. And yeah, I think I one point, one thing that I make sure is every time after a collaboration happens, I wait for a certain amount of days, I go back to the brand, ask them how the response was, and take it on text so that I have it documented. If I have failed somewhere, I'll understand how I can improve, because not every reel is a big hit. There are reels that don't do well. So I'll understand, is it because of the brand? Is it because of the way I have, narrated? I understand all these cues to work better for the next content.
But I think their response itself is a good feedback mechanism for you.
Yes. Yeah, I think every creator should do make this a point to like get back to the brand. See, if it's failed, it's okay. Understand at least. If it
Okay.
is done well, they'll put you in their happiest books. So it is both ways. So always make sure to interact with the brand and check.
Okay. Now, just moving to targeted questions on, say, for someone who's watching and they want to become an influencer and they want to start today. What what are some of the do's and don'ts that you would recommend after your experiences?
I think till maybe like few months ago, I would say, okay, content creation has very good scope. Please come into this. I was the person telling this, but I don't think I'll tell this anymore because it's such a quickly saturating market. Yeah. It's a lot of categories have got exhausted. No more. There's no more content. That's why I told like creators are boosting their profiles. Like I also told there's something called shine time for a creator. So 1 or max of 2 years is when they're doing very well. They're all popular. They're the talk of the town, and everybody is behind them with a lot of offers. But it slows down. But if you're someone who is very sober and do it very consistently, it works for a long time. Don't overdo it.
Consistency is key. So you would say space it out and sort of, I mean, how frequently would you recommend for someone who's starting?
So that's what.
please explore niches that are untouched. There are so many, like there are very new creators who are doing things in such a different way. Bring new styles, and I mean, avoid doing something that's already overdone, because people see that there's a lot of money there. Like, say for example, Bangalore, there's a lot of restaurants, and people assume there's very good money flowing, and they end up opening another one. But the reality is just the saddest, and nobody knows. And only once they open it is when they realize how hard it is to run, and there's not enough demand for them to open so many outlets. And so that way, like, do your research, please, understand what content creation is, get your editing skills, videography skills, be sure about what you talk, do your research, and then only get into a platform. Don't be like someone who is unguided, has no idea about what this is, and just they enter and then figure out. Don't be that person. Yeah.
Okay, and like you said, like what you said, you need to do a certain, things as an influencer. Like, I know there's camera work happening, then there's editing, there's voiceover, then some amount of, I don't know, color correction that needs to happen or whatever. So, like this, there's so many intricacies that needs to happen behind the scenes. So, what are some of the tools you recommend that they acquaint themselves, at least, like some basic ones?
Okay. Anybody who wants to create or edit videos, I would say VN is one good application. It's also for free, so they can explore enough options there. And what InShot is another one.
Yeah.
And if you are a person who is good at learning things quickly, Adobe Express is another one. It's a little more uh, there are more options to explore, so there are more tools there.
Yeah.
So these three, I think, should be good. Actually, Instagram, the
Itself
app itself has so much to explore, and in my initial days, that is where I edited.
Right.
And I also feel there's better reach when you edit it directly on Instagram, because it's more friendly and more relatable.
And the platform wants you to use their tools
Yeah.
more, I think.
Yeah, it's end of the day, it's how you can relate. People see Instagram texts and fonts very often. So when something is edited from that particular app, they tend to relate more. They feel comfortable. So there's more interaction there. So yeah, I think if you're starting, Instagram is great tool.
Okay.
But just that sometimes it glitches, and that could be a problem.
Okay. And as a content creator, what are some of the platforms? Of course, Instagram and Facebook, they're tied together, but what others do you recommend in order to be more successful in this area?
I would say, like, explore as many new platforms as and when they come. Like, Threads was something that came and nobody's speaking about it.
Yeah.
But it's nice to explore, because again, like, you never know, like, how TikTok just disappeared overnight. It could happen to a lot of apps. When you're building your presence, build it very strongly. Do it on YouTube, do it on Instagram. If you have a Snapchat, do it there. So building your name collectively on different platforms is a very big a plus point for any creator. So explore as many new apps as and when they come in, is what I would say.
Okay. And as a starter, what is that one thing, like, how do they start getting brand deals, right? Because, okay, now let's just say that I want to start today.
Okay.
Now, obviously, someone will not come to me because I've not built brand equity on myself. So, how does one begin? Like, do they just start randomly? Like, I just don't know. You are the best person to guide people on it.
So when you start content creation, it's not like you are with an established number already. It's a journey. You're building numbers there, no? So whenever you do something, do it in the most unique and organic way as possible. Seeing that is when brand will feel that there's a potential and they can collaborate there. So they will approach. A lot of creators do approach on their own if they think the brands they go well with each other, and that is also not a bad idea. But build your own brand so strong that a lot of other brands just look up and they want to come and collaborate with you. So initial days, you just need to focus on content
that has to roll out organically. Don't focus on brand deals. If you're coming here to earn, please don't come. That's what I would say.
Okay.
Because it's a journey. Like, you should bring out the best in you in terms of content, what you want to show people, because you would have come with an idea. So if only that is, clearly stated, is when people want to associate. Otherwise, it won't work.
Right, right. And how long would it normally take? Like, say I start making content today. One, I think the first question more would be, what is the frequency with which you recommend one post to
Okay.
start off with? And then how long would it normally take on an average? I know it depends on the quality of your content and how niche you are, but on an average, how long would it take for one to see success and brand deals and all that happening?
Okay. That way, I feel it, there is a lot of hard work, because when I started, I thought, okay, this, you need to be consistent, but nobody will tell how consistent.
Okay.
So I would upload, say, 3 reels for a week and just leave it in the air and then come back when I find something really nice, because I want to do quality there and not
Right.
quantity. So I would wait and do, but then I also understand there are a lot of good content that you can do uh, more often. And that's when I understood you have to upload content every single day to keep up. So I think almost 2 years I have done it in a stretch without taking a break.
Wow.
Every single day putting new content was it's not easy. And but then again, people tend to get bored when they keep seeing your face repeatedly. I think now it has reduced. Like, say, for a week, if you do 3 content is good enough.
Right.
Yeah. But if you are keen on building your platform or your profile with good numbers, and you want to keep up and not take a break and drop, please be very consistent as much as you can, I would say.
Okay. Okay.
But prioritize good quality
Content. Okay. And in terms of equipping yourself, of course, you mentioned VN app and InShot and everything, but then physically, what are some of the things that one should invest in? And what do you recommend for beginners?
If you ask me, I think I would be the last person to recommend any kind of tools, because when I started, I just had my phone and it was good quality. Uh, you know, it was an iPhone and it was good enough. So I just shot content in there, edited with whatever tool was available, and I used to post. I didn't have a tripod, no extra stand, nothing.
Okay.
And I had really sweet friends who would help. I had my sisters who would help with angles, and I'm very particular. So that's one of the reasons why you will see very less of me in the content. Like 90% of the content would be the brand, and maybe 10% would be me. I would come in the introduction and the conclusion, somewhere in the between. I will not be all around in the content, right? So that way, I like shooting with my own hands. I don't prefer any kind of gadgets or anything. But if you think tripod would help you if you're alone, that's a very good investment. Get something that's sturdy and strong, and which could also be used with a camera. So that way, you will not have to invest later. So I think that is one. And maybe good lighting. That makes you get smaller lighting for your phone, which are really effective now. I think that should be more than enough. You don't need like a sophisticated studio and all of that to shoot.
Right.
If you know how to do it, you will do it anywhere. Yeah.
Right. Because I think even there's a trend that's shifting now. It's, yes, aesthetic matters, but then people are now liking very organic, raw content, even if it's messy. That's sort of adding to the authenticity of.
I mean, the whole content creation started for this purpose. Like, they wanted to see how a person is consuming the product, how it'll be like an UGC content that they want to see. They want someone to review it. And they, like, how you get your reviews on whenever you purchase something, you write a review. Someone did it just in a video format, and that's how content creation started. That's how it had to be, but it was overdone. Like, people now understand what's a brand deal, what's paid and what's not paid, and how they're speaking. Again, now creators have to take efforts to go back to the ways they started. So it has to be as organic as possible, and that's why UGC content is doing much better now than creator contents. Like, people want to see, like,
a real person actually using it. It's okay if they're famous or not, and they want them to speak the truth.
Yeah.
So like and they understand now if it is staged and if it is uh, like scripted, they understand.
Yeah.
If it's going to be organic, they know they're going to randomly remove their camera out and they're going to start shooting it. And that's why it's like that. That's
Yeah.
the perception, and that's why content that's more like communicative and very direct and very relatable is doing better, personal, I would say, than something that's scripted or something that's like staged and organized very well with a very good background and all of that.
Yeah. Recently, I read this article which said employee generated content is
Yeah.
the next way to
Yes.
go about it.
Yeah. I think one brand that really outshines for me is Vilva.
Yes.
Like they literally got
foot
their
cream.
food cream on
Yeah.
their packaging
Yes.
stuff, and it really made a difference. And that, I mean, see, that way it's very promising. They
Yes.
know whose legs have a lot of cracks and whose feet has a lot of cracks, and they literally told, okay, this is working, it will work on you as well.
Yeah.
So I think that way it's so convincing for anyone to see.
Right. For an influencer, other than brand deals, is there any other way in which they can make money, just in terms of a career standpoint?
Yes, so if they are doing this for a full-time thing and if they don't have enough work for the month, they can also like freelance with other brands. Like, say, I mentioned about UGC content.
Yeah.
They can, like, maybe brands are looking for individuals who can be their anchors, who can create content, who can help them shoot. So if you are good with things like that, please take your time out, because you're not completely packed or you're not too busy. No, you make the max out of your skills. So I think associating with brands for their needs and their requirements can also be a source of income. But the other thing that I also do is I also host workshops. Like, I speak about my so like I am a consultant, so I understand the background well. So I use that education and skill of mine to actually educate someone who requires it. I have done workshop for brands, small businesses who want to grow their presence,
Right.
and but yeah, and also creators. Yeah, but all of this income, I mean, I'm just telling, because if someone wants to do it, they can, but whatever I do goes for charity. So these
Oh,
are
lovely.
charity hosted workshops.
Super.
Yeah, that is one. And what else? They can again, like, establish themselves in different apps or platforms, like YouTube could be another. So like branch out your income, so you never depend on one
Right.
source. You never know when it'll end or when it might um, stop.
And is it safe for influencers to diversify? Like, say they start off with like food and restaurant reviews and things like that, and then they move to lifestyle, because audience may get confused, and there are such notions. So is it safe for influencers to diversify?
I think yes, if you have noticed, especially food industry or dining creators, they'll be the first people to diversify. They would have started with just food content, because I know the reality. When you just start, there's no money in the food industry. Like, it's exhausted, and brands are also not making as much as they think or expect, because everybody sees that there's a new cafe or a restaurant, they're doing well, and they're just falling for it and they're bringing their own brands. But if, like, almost 80% of the restaurants are in loss, or they wouldn't even have hit their break even point in
My
Bangalore.
goodness. Okay.
It's so sad, and not everybody speaks about this, and I'm not even sure if they would be able to recover the money they have invested on influencers. So when they do it with quality influencers who can actually get them conversions, it makes business. But if you're randomly going to pick people and then start throwing money, it does not work for them. So yeah, what was I? I forgot.
No, just diversifying.
Yeah. So yeah. So dining category influencers are the first to diversify, because one particular niche
if it has good money, they can take it forward. But if it does not, if you're seeing this as a career, if you really depend on this come, you need to keep it regular. No, for that reason, you'll have to tap into other categories. Now, fashion, it could be lifestyle.
Travel is also like,
Yeah, travel is another niche. So I think it's mostly for that, or if it could also be because they would have just explored a category and it would have got them really good reach and engagement, and then they continue doing that. Could be for that reason as well. But I would say it is very important for any creator to tap into other categories and
Yeah.
not just stick to one, because if you notice, they would have changed their line slowly, because it's
Okay.
not easy to sustain in one particular category for very long.
Very long time.
Yeah.
Right. Now, yes, there is a very fancy side to being an influencer. You get to go to brands and all of that. But I think there is also this dark side of mental health about these numbers haunting people. Like I know live in life, non-influencers who are just basically consumers of
Mhm.
or users of Instagram, they post something and they're not receiving that amount of like, or that itself causes so much
Pressure.
distress in people and pressure. But I can only imagine how it is for influencers. So if you can just talk about that side, mental health can, I mean, I'm imagining can be quite an issue for
Yeah,
influencers.
very true. If anybody is getting into content creation, should actually have good mental health and should be really strong there,
Yeah.
because uh, it's you're not like working for a brand to get them results. If you don't get, it's there. But if it's you, your work, everything is just reflecting,
Mm.
and I mean, you put a lot of efforts in creating a content piece and it does not work, you really feel bad about it, right?
Yeah.
So it I mean, to the outer world it may look small, but this actually leaves a very big effect on a lot of creators. I have known creators who have taken break and have stopped content creation because it has affected their mental health to this extent. And if you and I mean, it's become very common. You would have noticed creators telling, "I want a break," and they go back to
Yeah.
their life, being off their social media, because it's not easy. There is so much hate again because you're in
Yes.
public. There are people who think I can say whatever, and there's nobody. There's a human who's actually reading. Nobody understands that. So there's a lot of collective things which actually disturb you at one point.
Yeah.
Could be views if you're chasing numbers. So if you're just here to have fun and not depend on anything, not compare yourself to someone and your growth to someone, you will ace it here, you will have your time, you will do well. But if you are very weak there, very competitive, and just taking everything too seriously, it's not going to work for you. Because I have seen many creators, my own friends, who have taken
My
long
goodness.
breaks
Yeah.
to get out of this. And a lot of them balance this out. No, they have full-time jobs and they're creators at the
Yeah.
same time. Some maybe students who are doing content creation along. For all of them, it's not easy, and they would start comparing themselves to someone else. Oh, they are doing well, why am I not? Why am I not getting that opportunity? And all of this is there. But I don't don't even take that seriously. Just do what you want to do and have fun. Focus on yourself. You're very good to go, otherwise you will be lost.
Yeah, I mean, even the hate comments, like anything comes out, if you go and read the comments,
Yes.
people are nasty.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine what it is.
The best way to deal with it is, if you have not read the entire thing, if you sense there's something negative, delete, or don't even read it. Ignore. Ignorance is bliss for a reason. If you are going to read what people think, because they're sitting somewhere else just typing whatever shit they want to put out, they don't care about how you feel. And why do you have to care about someone who
Yeah.
has not even done it on purpose? They're just doing it for fun, and
Yeah.
you're affected. So don't take it seriously. If you want to, I would say best way is not to respond. Don't
Yeah.
even read it. It's not worth it.
It's not worth
Yeah.
it. So I think I want to end this by asking you for one piece of advice for people who want to become influencers. What is that one key learning you've had, and what is that one advice you would give them from your experience so far?
I feel there's really good scope, but being selective changes your game. If you are if you are okay to let go of deals that may be big in your initial days because it is not, like aligning with your thoughts or with your content type, let it go, because that will help you build a very good niche. People are watching every single thing, every single brand you take up, and they know what you're doing. So be very selective, and very, very quality content should be the priority, and not just putting whatever you want to just to build numbers. And be very informative.
Yeah.
Talk about things that are not spoken, and always do your check on the information that you're putting. Take it from the first source. Don't take someone else's content and say, because they might be wrong, and you would also be fooled
Yeah.
because of that. So do good research and put quality content is what I would say.
Superb. Jeevitha, thank you so much. I know you're a very busy person, but you were able to do this for us. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
spending time with the Talk of Town podcast.
I think I had fun. It was a very interactive, and I really wanted to speak about this from a very long time,
Yeah.
because everybody just knows how rosy and glowy this industry is, and not the other side.
Yeah.
I think the whole aspect of that is brought out in this talk, and I really appreciate you for having me here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The sponsor for this episode is a social media agency called Paperplay. Paperplay as a company understand your requirement, strategize your social media play, help you with the social media calendar, complete account management, and finally, analyze the analytics. So if you're an entrepreneur, reach out to Paperplay for your social media needs. More details in the description below.